Well, it's now my pleasure to introduce Miles Corak, who is a professor of economics with the Graduate School of Public and International Affairs at the University of Ottawa, and he is a visiting professor this year with the Department of Economics at Harvard University. His work focuses on labor markets and social policy, including child poverty, access to university education, and social mobility. He was awarded the 2014 Doug Purvis Prize by the Canadian Economics Association for his paper that examines the relationship between inequality and social mobility across countries, a relationship that has become known as the Great Gatsby Curve. His research has been used by the White House and cited by major print and electronic media. Dr. Corak holds an MA in economics from McGill University, and he completed his PhD at Queen's. He joined the University of Ottawa in 2007 with 20 years of experience in the Canadian federal government, most of that time spent at Statistics Canada. Welcome, Miles, for your presentation.
So let me start by saying that a census is built block face by block face. It's built by subdivision, village, town, cities. A census is built until it tiles the entire country perfectly. And even the most jaundiced among us just have to wonder at the power and efficiency of that machine. And certainly the public servants who work in the Jean Talon building, which you see here to the right of your screen, in a windswept area of Ottawa called Tunney's Pasture, those public servants should be very proud of the machine that they have built, retooled, and oiled. And that machine, I will argue, helps us focus on those forces in society that pull us apart. Also those forces that keep us together, okay? But the census, I will also put to you, is more than a machine. The census, as Minister Duclos pointed out, is an act of political imagination. And the public servants in Statistics Canada can't play that role in defining the census and making it a tool of nation building. And there is some sense, I'll conclude in my brief minutes, there is some sense in which we should aspire to a voluntary census. Okay? First, what's pulling us apart and how does the census help? One of the most astounding changes in my mind is how the income distribution in Canada has changed over the last 20 or 30 years. And a lot of that has to do with the share of income going to the top 1%. So if you make roughly over $200,000 a year, you're in this top 1%. In 1980 or so, the top 1% of society took home 7.5% of all income made in the country. Okay? A few decades later, that rose to almost 14%. These were the big winners of globalization and technical change. How to interpret this is really important. The data I'm showing you now actually come from income tax files. What the census does is it helps sort of cast a finer light on this. There's two stories here. You can imagine that the top 1% are a very productive group. People like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, who fundamentally changed our lives for the better. If you own an iPhone, an iPad, or any of those great Macintosh products, or if you're actively engaged with a cell phone, you owe it to these people, and they deserve this higher income as a result. Another take is, as one Nobel Prize winning economist put it to me once, these people are where they are because of theft. And economists speak of something called a rent. A rent is a return to your income that is above and beyond what's necessary to bring forth your effort. If your income is due to changes in foreign exchange rates, to changes in commodity prices, to changes in corporate governance that give you more control over the pie, well, then you're just taking money off the table. Okay? What the census allows us to do is look at who's making this money. And we know that probably we should lean to more the rent-seeking side of the story than the productive return side of the story. It's people who have power and control, people who live in Calgary and Toronto, the census shows us. The Institute for Research and Public Policy produced a very nice book in which census is used to look at the occupational distribution of these top 1%ers. And you can imagine this has implications for taxation policies and all sorts of other policies. Okay? Top 1%ers will probably not tend to give you information in surveys. They only show up in a mandatory census. Okay? At the other extreme, our society is also being pulled apart by, someone used the word social cohesion. And to me, one of the big challenges we face in Canada is the integration of immigrants as full and productive members of our society. Where will these Syrian refugees be in a generation? For me, the very important thing is to ask where their children end up. Okay? Do they get all the schooling that they have a right to and rightly deserve and become full and productive members of society, or do they tend to drop out of high school? I did a study in which I was able, in using the census, to look at people who came to Canada younger than the age of 18, children who came to Canada with their parents. And the census gave me enough information to know exactly how old they were when they came to Canada. Okay? And also from which country they came and what language they spoke. And I was able to chart these hockey stick charts. If you came to Canada before the age of 10, your chances of dropping out of high school are no less or no more than a typical Canadian. But beyond that age, it starts to ratchet up. And this is a potential group that we should really be interested in watching. Teenagers who come to Canada and don't speak one of the official languages. Okay? So these are the two extremes that the census is able to highlight, I think, two extremes that stretch our social fabric. Okay? But Jean Talon, as the minister said, produced the first census. I thought it began in 1666 and ended in 1667, but let's not debate about the numbers. But 1666 it was, and it was an act of nation building. Okay? And we cannot ask our statisticians to infuse the census with the political imagination that it requires to become something that we should celebrate, something that we should exercise as a right. We shouldn't have to be told to fill out that form because we should think of the census almost as the right to vote, a privilege in a democracy to inform ourselves and look at ourselves, something that Jean Talon knew 350 years ago. Thanks very much.